All right, I believe we are in session. Cool. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning from. Let's still wait a minute or two for any last minute any last minute viewers, and then I suppose we can kick it off. So just a sec. All right. So yeah, I can see that some more people have joined in, so I suppose we can kick it off. So hey everyone, good evening. My name is Josef Vesely, and I'll talk you through today the topic of the automated, accurate offline conversion imports to Google Ads. So I think first up, some small introductions are in order. So quickly about me, I'm the head of marketing here at Dataddo. And one of my main responsibilities are the performance marketing channels, quite specifically Google Ads, or Google Ads is one of our main acquisition channel that we use. And the reason why it is me talking to you tonight is the fact that over the last couple of months, I've been trying my hand at different versions or different approaches how to import offline conversions into Google Ads, and most importantly, it is an experience that I would love to share with you tonight. So, with that out of the way, let's quickly go over what I'm actually going to talk about tonight. So first up, I would like to set a quick overview of what the Google conversion or offline conversions are, how do they work, and how you import the data into Google Ads. Then I would like to cover, on the last step, I would like to cover some of the ways how you can import these offline conversions, and what are some of the pros and cons, or what from my experience that I found out, what were some of the pros and cons that I've gone through. Specifically, the approaches that I'd like to cover would be the manual import that you would do via a CSV or Google Sheets. Then the automated import that you can do via Google Sheets. I would like to take a look also at some of the native integrations that Google supports with some CRMs, quite specifically that would include Salesforce and HubSpot. And I would also like to mention some of the automation platforms that Google promotes, quite specifically that would be Zapier. And on this topic, I would like to close it with how our newly developed approach compares to all of the above, and what can you expect from it. After we're going to be done with this, I'd like to take you to a demo of the platform. So exactly how do you connect your data from A to B? So how do you connect your data from your CRM or from your database, and how you can reliably and automatically upload it into Google Ads. And after we're done with that, there's obviously going to be some time for questions from you. So I suppose with that done, let's get to it. So, for start, quick overview of the offline conversions, and then finally the imports. So first up, offline conversions, or as any conversions, really start with a click on your ad. So user clicks on your ad, they land on your website or an application, whatever it may be, and it's already a moment when you can start collecting data about that particular user. In the case of the Google offline conversions, you would start, or you could collect Google Click ID as a potential identifier for the ads. Next up, user would go through the funnel and they would perform a desired operation, or in other words, a conversion. So this could be anything really, from an app registration, filling out a form, downloading a white paper, or obviously buying a product. Next up in this whole process would be a moment when you store this data into a CRM or a database. So you store the identifier, so that could be a Google Click ID, or if you would choose to use enhanced conversions for leads, it could be an email or a phone number. And you would pair this data with the conversion data, meaning you would then add to that identifier data about the conversion value, the conversion size, quantity of bought products, so on and so forth, and obviously the stuff like conversion time, conversion currency. And then a final step in this whole puzzle would be an actual import of the data. So that's a moment when you send data to Google with the identifiers and with the conversion data, and Google is then able to match the identifier data to the initial click at the very beginning of the whole process. So that's that. So that's a quick overview, and I think we can quickly look at the individual approaches of how you can import the data, meaning how you can complete that very last step. So first up, I think the easiest one that you can start with is the manual approach, which you would be doing using either CSVs or Google Sheets. I think this is a great start if you are getting into the offline conversion import game. This is definitely a place to kick it all off. There is some advantages, there are some disadvantages. So first up, major advantage to all of it is that it is for free. It's a free solution to the whole process. You simply need to download your data from a CRM or a database. You need to clean it up a little bit. You need to prepare it, and then you upload it into Google Ads. Easy peasy, and it is for free. Another great perk, in my opinion, is the fact that it's for free. It's great for testing your data and prospecting your data. What I mean by that is that you, through the preview feature in Google Ads, you can see exactly which data is getting matched and which isn't. You can then go back to the initial sheet, and you can make any kind of adjustments that you need in order for this whole process or for the upload to work just the way you need to. Another advantage to the whole process is that you don't need to hash emails or phone numbers. Quick side note here: all the emails that you see in the screenshot are made up, so we're not leaking any sensitive data here. But back to the hashing. We'll get to why this is an advantage later, but specifically for manual approach here, Google does not require you to hash emails or phone numbers. And it can be a little tricky, as I'll explain to you in a bit. It's a little tricky to do. So those are the advantages. The obvious disadvantages would then include the fact that it is a manual approach. So if you're serious about importing your data or importing your conversions, and you're serious about the optimization, then you need to get the data to Google Ads as frequently as possible and as fresh as possible. So the fact that the approach would be manual, it would mean that you have to do it. You have to do it by yourself. It's pretty tedious. You will want to automate it at one point or another. Another point that I want to mention that I know would come up from my experience is that you have to be careful about the formatting of the table and about the correct formats of the data that's in it. So as you see the table on the screenshot, this is exactly how you would need to upload it. You can't, mismatch any of the columns. And when it comes to the data of some of the columns, specifically timestamps can be tricky. You need to have them in a very specific format that Google will accept. I will be sharing this presentation after the call alongside with the webinar recording, and in the note section of the of the presentations, you will find resources that you can then follow, and it will be typically a Google documentation. So that would be the manual approach. Now let's get to the automated approach. So as I said, once you are serious about updating or about uploading your conversion data, you will probably want to go through some sort of automated solution. And one that sort of presents itself right off the bat is as a way using the Google Sheets as a way how to move your data or how to import your data into Google Ads. Again, some perks, some cons. So in my opinion and in my experience, perk definitely was that it's a pretty popular method with quite a lot of resources online. So if you have a question, it is likely someone had that question before you. If you're gonna Google it, soon enough there's going to be an answer to that very question. So pretty nice from this perspective. Another nice point to mention is that if you have a native data integration between your CRM or database and Google Sheets, then this solution can be for free. This, for example, applies to a case with BigQuery. So if you have your lead or conversion data in BigQuery, you can natively connect your BigQuery tables with Google Sheets, and then the whole process or the whole integration can be can cost you nothing. So that's a plus. Some disadvantages: you have to hash customer data, and I would suggest using Google's app scripts to do it. So once again, there's going to be in the note section a resources on how to do all of this. But a quick summary of it would be that when you're uploading data, and I'm talking here specifically about the enhanced conversions for leads. So if you're uploading data that contains emails or phone numbers, you need to hash them. And you need to, or I mean, you can use Google's app scripts to do it. You can see the script on the screen. It can be at times a little finicky to do, and it's an extra like a step to do on the in the process. Another potential con is if you don't have, or if there isn't a native data integration between your CRM and database, then you'll have to find a third-party data integration tool, which doesn't necessarily have to be for free. So that's something to think about. Just as with the manual uploads, you have to be careful about the correct format of the table and the correct format of some of the data, or for example, the date stamps, as I mentioned before. And then finally, from my own experience, it breaks. It's not the most reliable setup ever. So in my experience, for example, I would have a native data integration set up with Google BigQuery. And quite often what would happen would be that the columns would somehow change structure or change its sorting. And then the upload would not take place. And you can sort of get around this by writing a Google Ad scripts or app scripts in Google Sheets and get alerted via an email. But it can be a little nerve-wracking, I suppose, at times. So it's something to it's something to mention and think about as well. Cool. Google also offers other ways on how to automate the imports. Specifically, at the moment, it is supporting 2 native integrations with 2 CRMs, HubSpot and Salesforce, and is also actively promoting some automation platforms, specifically with Zapier. You'll definitely see it once you're going to be setting up, the conversion actions and the uploads. It's going to be mentioned in the conversion steps in Google Ads. Anywho, quick side note here. We use internally HubSpot. So I have experiences with HubSpot and I have also used Zapier, but I don't have an experience with Salesforce. So it's possible that what I'm going to say now is going to be applying to, it's not necessarily going to be fully applying to Salesforce as a native integration, but it will to HubSpot. So again, perks. HubSpot integration is, or what I found was, it's relatively easy to set up. So typically, you would want to set up an event trigger that would be triggered when a lifecycle changes or lifecycle stage changes on a particular deal. Typically, a lead would become a customer, and you would upload that data into Google Ads. And this is pretty easy to set up in their UI. So that's pretty straightforward. If you're using Salesforce or HubSpot, and you have paid for the tier that would allow you for an integration with Google Ads in the first place, you shouldn't incur any extra costs that would be associated with the solution. So that's also something that's potentially nice. Some downsides. I definitely found out or experienced that it is a bit of a black box. And what I mean by that is you are never quite sure what data is getting triggered and what data is being sent in. So it can be a little questionable, a little bit troublesome, right? And especially because the integrations as of right now are not completely foolproof. So what I found out when I set up my triggers in HubSpot was that some conversions were doubled, some conversion numbers were not quite sensical, and it was super difficult for me to troubleshoot. So because I simply didn't see what kind of data is getting triggered and what doesn't. So it was, again, a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit nerve-wracking at times. I've also tried some of the automation platforms. Zapier is definitely out there, but there is others as well. And what I found essentially with all that I have tested were the fact that they don't really support warehouses as a source of data. So I have my data in Google BigQuery, and it was basically an impenetrable barrier for me. It was virtually impossible to set up a well-functioning import that I could rely on. Another thing here to mention is, and what I found out, and what was a little bit, I suppose, annoying, was the fact that you need to hash customer data if you're gonna go the enhanced conversions for leads way. So this is something to keep in mind potentially as well. Another thing to perhaps mention is the fact that if you have a lot of data and and you get a lot of events that would get triggered, the automation platforms typically charge by the number of events, and it's somewhat difficult to predict going forward. So it can end up being somewhat costly. So this is also good. This is also good to think about that before you rely solely on this solution. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what we have been able to come up with. So our developers put together sort of our own approach. They have taken our feedback that we've gathered from the approaches above and tried to address most of it. That said, I'm still gonna mention some of the cons. I'm still gonna mention all the pros, but I also have a con, just so we're not singing, like a phrases to ourselves. So first up, it is that easy to set up. As I told you, all the other setups can be a little bit finicky at times to do. But as I'm going to show you in the demo later, it is simply clicking and mapping fields, and it's really easy. On top of that, you don't have to hash your customer data. Dataddo will do it for you. So no worries about that. And at the same time, you don't have to worry about stuff like correct date stamps and other kind of data in the right formats. Dataddo will automatically change all of that into the right settings in the right formats for Google, to be able to process all of it. If you're at all worried about the data that's going into, and you should be obviously, going into Google Ads, and you're worried about any corrupted data that might get in there, then there is a new feature, or somewhat new feature of ours, which is called the Data Quality Firewall. And you can set up alerts that would contain you if the data that you're uploading contains any zeros, any null values, any deviations, and it can be super handy. And I'll not just alert you actually, but you can even set up a, there's even a feature that would allow you to block the upload altogether. So, so Google Ads is not acting upon any kind of corrupted data sets that may be out there, which is, again, for me, this is a major peace of mind. Next pro definitely is the fact that you can basically connect to any CRM or data warehouse that is out there. At the moment, our portfolio counts around 250 connectors, and we are covering all the popular CRMs and data warehouses. So if you have obviously Salesforce or HubSpot, but Zoho, NetSuite, Pipedrive, we cover all of those, and the same can be said about the warehouses. So as I mentioned, I have my data in BigQuery, but if you've got your data in MS SQL, MySQL, AWS, Snowflake, Databricks, and many more, we'll have those as well. So this is pretty handy, and the setup is basically all is the same for all of them. Just a second, I skipped unfortunately one there. Another final pro would be the fact that you can observe the data that's going in, so you can set up other flows that would be going to any kind of BI tools or Google Sheets. So if you have Power BI or Google Looker Studio or Tableau or whatever, you can be at the same time that you're sending your data into Google Sheets, you can be sending this data to any BI tool, and you can be simply checking what's going in. And again, that I think adds an extra layer of comfort, which is simply nice. And finally, just so we're not singing praises about ourselves, I have to mention one con, and that is that for all of this goodness, the solution is not for free. So the base price currently starts at $99 per month for annual contracts. And for that, you can have free flows. I'll explain or show you exactly how those flows work in a bit. But what this means is you can basically populate 3 different conversion actions in Google Ads. So I suppose that's done, and let's head to the actual demo. So let me hide some floating bars that I've got here. Cool. So we are in our app on the dashboard. This is our own company profile. So we have a lot of data here. But what we really need to care about is only this button at the moment, which is called Create Source. So I would go click on Create Source. And now I would want to pick out a data source where I have my leads for my conversions. As I said, I have my leads in Google BigQuery, which you can see here. But if you have your leads in any CRM, let's say HubSpot or Salesforce, what else can be there? Zoho, so on. You will find all of those. This is the portfolio of connectors. I'm sure you're gonna find your own connector. Side note: if you want, let us know, and we will build one for you for free. So, but yeah, let's get going. So I have my data in Google BigQuery. And let me just select the data where I have it. I'm just gonna rename my source here so I know I know what it is later on. Webinar test, let's say, and I'm just gonna pick my account, my project, my data set, which is conversion tracking. I have created table specifically for this webinar, which is the webinar test table. With the exception of the sensitive data that are in, it mirrors exactly the setup that I use for my uploads. Cool. You can see that in my table I've got conversion currency, conversion name, which also would be conversion action, conversion time, conversion value, and finally the identifier that I spoke about a couple of times already. And in our case, it would be email. You can also use Google Click ID or phone number. So cool. Let's do next. As this is a warehouse, you can update your SQL statement. We don't need to do that. So I'm just going to click on next. I'm going to select my frequency. I like to have my data synced as often as possible because, as I said, it's better if Google gets to act on fresher data as soon as possible, right? So I'm just going to click here on save. Just going to wait a moment. Cool. So here, source was successfully created, and it's connected to my account. All is well. And so now we have the source of our data. Now we need to send it somewhere, or specifically in our case, we need to send it to Google Ads. So I will create a flow. You can see here in the preview feature what kind of data is flowing in. So I have altogether in this data source 4 conversion names, medium, low, medium, high, and we might be able to find here somewhere also VIP. And I want to send it to Google Ads. So here I would select the data destination, and amongst the options here, I would go to applications. You can already see that I've created a lot of conversion actions that I'm populating, but let's just go through the whole process. So I'm going to select a destination, which in our case are Google Ads. I'm just going to click on Google Ads. I'm going to select my account. I have the email as an identifier. So I will have to go with the enhanced conversions for leads. But if you have a Google Click ID as an identifier, then feel free to use that one as well. I'm gonna choose my account, which is this one. If you have MCC, you can also set it up here. And finally, I'm gonna choose from conversion action, which conversion I want to populate. So in my case, it would be let's say the high conversion. Cool. And I'm just gonna do here high, enhanced conversions for leads, webinar test. Okay. I hit save. And here we are. So at the moment, as you can see, we have the source of the data, which is in BigQuery, and we have the destination data, the destination where we're going to upload the data. So I think this is the most fun part of the whole process, where we need to simply map the fields from the source to the destination. So as this is the enhanced leads for conversions, I need to map an email as an identifier, and I need to also map a conversion time. So these fields are mandatory. And if I had static values with, if I had conversion actions with static values, then I could, go ahead and upload this. And if I had only one conversion action in the source, then I could simply go on. But as I have 4, I need to make sure that only one of them gets picked. And as I don't have static values, I also need to make sure that Google gets the data about the actual conversion value and the conversion currency. So first up would be the name. So I want to make sure that only the correct conversion actions get uploaded. So first up, conversion name mapped. Next would be the value. So let us pick the conversion value. There we go. And finally, the conversion currency. So here we go. Nice. And as it is right now, I could create a flow and it would start populating the conversions in Google Ads. But let me just show you this tab for a quick second. This is the data quality firewall I spoke about earlier. And that can help you to prevent any kind of corrupted data getting into Google Ads in the first place and letting you that they exist. So I know that, for example, in my conversion value column, there should not be any conversions that are either 0 or null. So I will select or I will add 2 rules, which should allow me or should notify me when there are any null values in the conversion value column. I will not only have myself notified, but if this is the case, I will also block the upload because I don't want any corrupted data getting into my account and Google, then acting upon it, bidding, adjusting bids on it. And I will do the same for the 0 values. All right. So this is it. I can set up the scheduling. It's currently hourly. I can see if I want to upload it immediately after the source extraction or at some different time, but we'll leave it as is. And here I create flow, and that's it. 1,218 rows were uploaded, and 5 columns were uploaded. So and it's been a successfully created flow. So that's it. At the moment, Google API will take about or up to 3 hours to recognize those conversions, and then you will be able to see them in your account. Let me just quickly show you how that would look like. So here, these are the conversion actions that I have mentioned that I've got in my source data. So low, medium, high, VIP. And this is the data that's being uploaded in, so you can see the conversions being taken here. Due to the reason that we're uploading a large amounts of customer data, not all of them get matched, and the beta data quality feature or data quality watcher in Google Ads then throws up this sort of notification. But I know the reason, so there is no need for me to worry. So that's the whole process from A to Z. And now let me jump back to the presentation. And I suppose let's take some of your questions. If we're not going to get to all of them, feel free to write me an email, and I will get to whatever you have, to whatever you would like to know. So just a second, let me open up the question section here. Where does Wanda? How does Wanda do that? Let me just stop sharing, and that might get me the. Oh, here we go. 2 questions. Nice. Okay, so first up, Charlie. Charlie has asked. Might be an odd question, but can you take data from a CSV file and have it automatically uploaded to Google Sheets? It will not work like that. So if you download your CSV, you will have to still upload it to. There's not going to be, you somehow have to download the CSV in the very beginning. So I don't really see how that could work. If I'm not mistaken, we actually have a connector for CSV for CSV. So if you somehow manage to get that CSV automatically populated, it's able then, or you would be theoretically able then to upload it to Google Sheets. And next one, also from Charlie, would be, or he's asking, can you build a Twitter analytics one? So do I understand it correctly, Charlie, that you would like a offline conversion imports for Twitter ads? or that you're asking for a connector for Twitter Analytics, because we do have a connector for Twitter Analytics actually. Yes. So let me just quickly jump back and look at our exhaustive portfolio, and let me just tell you exactly the connectors that we have. Because we have Twitter ads, or I mean now X ads, right? So at the moment we offer Twitter ads as a connector and Twitter organic. If you, I'm pretty sure it's Twitter ads. I see. Okay, okay, yeah. Then Twitter organic. Twitter organic is a connector that allows you to get data from your account if you're posting, tweets, and you would be collecting stuff like impressions from your own, it could be your own personal account or company account or so on. All right. So I think we've covered everything. I don't see any other questions. So if you might have some down the line, again, feel free to email me or to email our team to schedule a call, and we'll try to answer all of it. So thank you very much all for joining tonight, and we will be sending you the webinar recording as well as the presentation with all the resources, I believe, likely tomorrow. So great. Thanks, everyone. Good night.